Yo, what's up? My name is Petrowski, and today I'm going to be testing a money-making method that is going to be sketching on false swipe onto wild Smeargles and catching them. So a lot of times, whenever you check Smeargle on the GTL, you'll actually see them like almost always having false swipe onto them, as you can see on this little pop-up right here. False swipe, false swipe, false swipe, false swipe, false swipe. And that's because when people go to catch them, they false swipe and then spore them. So the wild Smeargle most of the time is going to end up sketching that false swipe. Smeargles have a pretty cool base value. Go ahead and check that right here. Sort by lowest price. Not as great as I thought it was, if I'm going to be totally honest. Around 2K, but a lot of them will sell pretty easily. People are always trying to get Smeargles. Smeargle is probably the most important utility Pokemon in the entire game of PokeMMO. I have no idea how much money, how much Pokeyen will be made per hour of this, but I am really excited to test loot from 1 hour of this today. Smeargle is also in the field aid group, which is the most common aid group, so if you get some good males with some good IVs, you could make some good Pokeyen, selling them as breeders as well. Alright, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the method where we'll be starting from, where we will be catching these Smeargle, and then I'll be doing an hour of catching from there on out. So, here at the Battle Frontier in Hoenn, you're going to bite east over to this waterfall part area. You are going to need Surf. I have my Surf Ocarina, thankfully. You're definitely going to need a catching Pokemon with False Swipe and Spore, of course. Other than that, you don't really need too many Pokemon. Bringing a Dig Pokemon can be nice to help you get out of the cave a little easier, but it shouldn't be too difficult. You mostly just need to catch Pokemon for this money-making method. But it might be nice to bring a Super Repel. I usually pop a Super Repel around that location, and then it usually lasts me all the way to the cave, maybe a little more. It might be best to actually buy some normal repels to save a little money, because normal repels might be the perfect length. But from here on out, you just run back and forth in Artisan Cave in this location. You're going to find Smeargles every time, 100% encounter rate. I'll go ahead and show you guys my first Smeargle catch, and then we'll go from there. Alright, here's the first Smeargle encounter. It should be pretty safe, pretty simple stuff. There's no way it can really kill itself for the most part. It does have only one PP on sketch, but once it sketches another move, it gains all the PP from that, I'm pretty sure. So what happens is, if you were to like substitute against Smeargle, it would sketch, and then it would actually struggle from there on out and hurt itself. So you do have to be a little careful about that. If you were to, try to catch it in that way. But I'm just really easy. Should just be able to false swipe and spore and then throw a Pokeball and catch like every time. The catch rate shouldn't be too difficult. It's a pretty low statted Pokemon, especially when it's 1 HP and asleep. But there we go. That's the bulk of the method. I'm going to go ahead and do this for 1 hour, put up a timer, and I'll see you guys after that, and we'll check the profits. Alright, I just caught the last Smeargle to finish off the hour. No notable stats there, and honestly, at first glance, or I guess my feeling after finishing that up, is that I probably don't think this is a great money-making method, but we're going to have to check the numbers and double-check, so I'm pretty interested to see. Smeargle were actually a lot more difficult to catch than I realized, and I think that played a huge factor in it. Sometimes they would take like 2 to 3, they probably took 2 to 3 Pokeballs on average, but there were a couple that were a real pain to catch. And even broke out of like multiple repeat balls at certain points. It was super annoying. But anyways, I'm going to go through them, sort my Smeargles, and come back to you guys in a sec. Alright, just to get an initial head count, it looks like we caught around 28 Smeargles in total after 1 hour. I'm interested to see how many of them are worth any sort of Pokeyen. Alright, here we are. We have the Smeargles nice and sorted. So there's 18 Smeargles that are just, I'm going to sell for like 1,800 Pokeyen each on the GTL, and I'm going to be counting this video as revenue earned, not profit, so I won't be deducting expenses, although I will, if you want that information, I will go ahead and say it probably cost me around 30k for Pokeballs as a guesstimation. It was actually pretty expensive, and then listing fees will just be 1k for each Pokemon most likely, so 30k plus 28k, is that the math? So around 58 to 60 in terms of total expenses. Now let's actually cover the revenue. First things first, let's look over the entirety of the PC though. So we have 18 no IV neutral Smeargles that'll only make me around 800 profit each, and then we can go down to these So there's two 1 times 31 more Smeargles, and those will have a specific price, and we'll have to price check those. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1 times 31 without any more stats going on Smeargles. There's two noted Smeargles, and then we actually did get a 2 times 31 and 1 times 30 Smeargle, so pretty fantastic catch there. I'm going to go ahead and price check everything and get back to you guys. Alright, starting with this first batch of 18 Smeargles that I keep talking about. So the listing fee for that is going to be 1K, and I'm going to be selling them for 1,800 Pokeyen, but we're not going to worry about that. We've already done the total expenses, but basically I'm only going to be getting like 800 profit per, but I'm going to count it at 1,800 to get the revenue and then subtract 60K from everything. So 1,800 per 1 times 18 is going to come out to 32,400. So that's kind of our initial profit just from these bad IV Smeargles. They should sell pretty consistently. Smeargles are like a very, very desired Pokemon. So I'm not too worried about these selling. They do just bring in such little profit. Okay, not gonna lie, I'm very surprised by Smeargle prices. Maybe this money-making method is actually insane. But it might take these listings a long time to sell at the prices I'm going to list them at, so that's something to consider. This is definitely another patient selling money-making method, like similar to my Torkoal one, where it's very dependent on the market. Kind of a disclaimer, kind of a fragile economy, but Smeargle is definitely a lot less fragile than Torkoal because there's like a very high demand for Torkoal and a pretty low supply. But there's like less demand than Smeargle. There's like a really high demand for Smeargle, but probably a lot more of a supply going on than Torkoal. But this is actually the price of a 1 times 31 Smeargle. Now, this one's been listing for 2 days now and hasn't sold, so I definitely don't trust this price super well. I'd probably mark it at around 20K, which is honestly probably pretty fair. For example, I have a 1 times 31 speed Smeargle that's female, which is actually better in this case than these male Smeargles. So I think listing it for 20K is like pretty fair. I think anyone who like wants a payday or utility Smeargle would pretty happily pay 20K for a 31 speed Smeargle, breed 31 attack onto it, and then be pretty happy with their breed for only like around like 40K or so to be able to finish that Pokemon and finish that utility Smeargle for a 2 times 31. That's more than fair. So I feel pretty comfortable with that 20K price. Since the Smeargle IV prices are so specific, I'm actually just going to go ahead and separate them and add them one at a time, especially since there's only 5, like in total, there's what, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 Smeargles for me to price check. It's not that difficult. I am going to go ahead and just add them up one by one then and price check them all individually. Usually I would come to an average, especially if I catch something like Magikarp. I'd be like, oh, like on average a 1 times 31 is going to sell for like 7 to 8K. I'll just do that. But for this video, I'll be a little more specific. So this Smeargle is going to be 20K. I'm going to go ahead and add that to the calculator. So the initial 32,400 plus 20K for that Smeargle, pretty fair so far, putting us to 52,400. I ended up having 3 Smeargles that were 1 times 31 in HP, I believe. Yes, all here, then that one's something else. So these 3 Smeargles are all 31 in HP, and I'm pretty comfortable they'll go for around 10K a piece. I'm pretty happy with this price. These seem to be selling really well as well. 1 times 31 HP Smeargles do seem to be selling slightly above their field A group price, so 10K a piece is probably pretty fair. So I'm going to add plus 30K to our previous price, putting us at 82,400. Right, and then on to the 1 times 31 special defense Smeargle. This one isn't that crazy. This isn't like a super notable IV for Smeargle. I'm just going to sell it for, I guess I can sell it for 10K, but it might take a while. I guess 10K is probably fair. I'm going to go ahead and add 10K to that price, putting us at 92,400. Okay, this Smeargle is pretty interesting. Jolly Nature is actually really important on it. So this is a 1 times 31 more Smeargle. The Smeargle has a couple of things going for it. The attack being 28, the special attack being 30. The special defense is nice, like having that 31, but the main stats are going to be that 25 plus or 28 even plus attack, 28 plus special attack, and then 25 speed. I searched for this Smeargle by looking for these stats, just 25 plus. In the 4 stats that it has, not really going for a 31. I don't really care about that. The lowest price is going to be 90K, but I think this Smeargle is really overpriced actually. it has bold nature, which is really bad on it in that case. This one's 120k. I think this is pretty like overpriced. I think these are pretty overpriced, and I think I'm gonna go off a lot of experience and general knowledge here. I'm probably gonna end up, especially if it's male, I'm probably gonna end up selling this Smeargle for around $39.99. So around 40k is gonna be the price for this Smeargle. I'm gonna add that onto the calculator. Gonna put me at 132,400 Pokeyen so far. Okay, on to this Smeargle. Pretty similar to the previous one. It has mild nature, which is actually pretty relevant, making like a mixed Smeargle. And it can go things like Discharge and Surf if you want it to, having that 31 special attack, mild nature, and make it a horde killer with Sweet Scent on it. Pretty nice. You could also make it a catching Pokemon, you know, whatever you want to do. But the Smeargle is going to have 20 plus attack, you know, and then 25 plus across and all those other stats, and it's in a really weird spot. So I searched it by going with these IVs, which is obviously pretty, you know, low. So a lot of the first ones you're going to see are going to be a lot lower. So this one's obviously much worse than my Smeargle. So go up to the next one. This one's close to my Smeargle, but Careful Nature is pretty bad for it. And it doesn't have the 31 IV in damage. It's also just missing a lot of IVs compared to mine. Closer, but not great. And then this one is a lot better than my Smeargle, as you can see, a lot better IVs. So I'm kind of in this weird in-between spot of between 15k and 100k, and I feel pretty comfortable listing this one for 40k, the same price as the similar one before. I think both of them really get a huge, like, I'd probably list them for like 20 to 30k normally, but the nature bonus and it being a Smeargle is pretty huge. So I think listing this for 40k as well, same with the other one, is going to be pretty fair. So we're going to add 40k again to this price check, putting us at 172,400 Pokeyen. This might seem kind of insane so far, but you are going to have to subtract around 60k for all of the costs, so don't forget that. Alright, now onto the noted Smeargles. This one is actually really similar to the one I just price checked, being like 20 to 25 plus across in all the stats except for HP, which is really similar to this Smeargle. I'm just going to price it at around 12k. I think that's pretty fair, and I think it's pretty easy to do that. Maybe 10k. I'll do 10k. Well, because it doesn't have a 31 that the other one has. So add 10k to the price check, put us at 182,000. And then this Smeargle, it's going to be a weird one to price check. It's definitely slightly worth more than the average Smeargle. I can actually show you guys. So if I just do 20 plus in, it's harder to do this with one hand while I'm holding my mic, but if I just do this 20 plus in HP, both attacks, and then speed, it should come up with a pretty, it's not super accurate actually. Yeah, it's really high. I don't know if I have anything searched wrong. What if I got rid of the HP? Let's just do it like this. This is kind of my process for price check, which I feel like a lot of people need to see more. I feel like a lot of people still don't understand how to price check. So honestly, it doesn't raise the price that much, if at all. I'll go ahead and list it for 1,800, and honestly just throw it up with the rest of the bunch. So we'll list that for plus 1,800 Pokeyen. Not too much there, but still putting us at 184,000 before costs. All right, and the last Smeargle is a really cool one, a really good catch. This is gonna be the only really Smeargle that I price checked via the egg group, which I think that's gonna be the best way to do this. So it's gonna be 31 special attack, 31 special defense, and then 30 defense. So we're gonna see if something comes up with these stats exactly, but I'm gonna get rid of the Smeargle name. We're gonna see if something comes up with these stats. Nope, it's just gonna be 3 times 31. So, but what we can do is look at the price of a 2 times 31 for this. So pretty cheap actually. And I'm probably just gonna I'll probably just bump it up to around 50k. That's usually what people do in this situation. So especially like this Whismur, the special attack just isn't a great IV for the field aid group. I'll probably end up listing this thing for 40k, unfortunately. Yeah, so it's only gonna be 40k, but I mean, it's still 2 times 31, still 40k, still super happy with that. Can't complain at all. Gonna add 40k. And that'll be our final price check of 224,200 Pokeyen for revenue. And I said I wasn't going to do profits, but I'm going to go ahead and do profits. So it's going to end up being 164,000 Pokeyen profit per hour. That's, you know, revenue minus the cost of everything. I'm honestly really surprised by that. I thought this moneymaker would suck. Maybe it just felt like it sucked because of how much more difficult to catch they were than I thought. But I'm pretty surprised by this. Also, like a lot of these might take a while to sell, but I'm not sure, dude. I thought the Torkoal would take a while to sell, and I was so wrong on that. Literally all of my Torkoals have sold so fast, except for These two. The two 80k ones have been taking a little bit to sell, but all those drought tortles that I sold for 8k literally sold so fast. I was very, very shocked by that. So yeah, I was pretty impressed by this, or at least surprisingly impressed by this moneymaker. So I really hope you guys liked this. We're ending at 164,200 Pokeyen profit, or 224,200 Pokeyen revenue. Alright, I really hope this video was helpful to you guys and you guys really liked it. Let me know that by liking this video and subscribing to stay up to date with more PokeMMO content, money making, PvP, PvM, events, catching events, holiday events, everything of the sort. Go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date. Also consider checking out all of the descriptions linked below. There's tons of PokeMMO content there, or the links in the description below. Jeez Louise, I've done that outro too much. Also consider joining the Discord. There's a lot of great information about this game there, and it's one of the quickest ways to learn about this game at an incredible pace. Also consider becoming a YouTube member to me for $5 a month. That's one of the best ways to support me. Or, dude, if you have an Amazon Prime or a Twitch Prime laying around, go ahead and head over to my Twitch, which is linked in the description below, and throw that up if you don't mind and you have it sitting around. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Have an incredible day, and I hope I can help you guys in your PokeMMO journeys.